Welcome back to tonight's episode of Outside the Box, where we're exploring the impact of technology on the human brain. Tonight's guest is a good friend of mine, Antonio Banini, and he is eager to discuss with me Steven Johnson's book Everything Bad is Good for You. Tommaso, welcome to our show.
Enchanted. I'm looking forward to discussing a number of Johnson's ideas. I think that it will be particularly stimulating to discuss our differences.
Ah, yes, Tommaso. Stimulating indeed.
You won't, what do you say? Rip me to pieces, Rachel?
Well, we will have to see about that now, won't we, Tommaso? I can't tell you how tempting that will be. Well. So you say that you more or less agree with Johnson's idea that technology and media in particular are making us smarter?
Oh, yes. I find that it is particularly interesting that playing difficult video games and beating them could make us better problem solvers. As you know, I am a computer programmer, and it seems to me that struggling to understand a game makes me more able to, in Johnson's words, analyze complex systems with multiple interacting variables changing over time. Creating a game of your own is very similar to writing code. I think that I am a good programmer because I wasted so much time playing video games in college. Much. That and other non-curricular pursuits. Huh?
I can only imagine. So, the type of thinking that video games requires increases the brain's ability to see solutions. I can see that this might be true. I take issue with Johnson's saying that it makes us smarter though. Right after Johnson's reference to analyzing complex systems, he goes on to say this is a skill that you get extremely good at if you play a lot of SimCity-like games. Doesn't that mean that this is just something you learn rather than actual intelligence?
I think that it made me smarter, Rachel. Haven't you always told me how smart you think I am and how talented and other things?
Yes, you're brilliant, Antonio, absolutely brilliant. I think you were born that way though.
I can feel the increased intelligence as my mind speeds from one solution to another.
But didn't you feel that way the first time you played a difficult video game? I think that it probably only took you 1 week to learn to think the way one must think to break a video game. So if we want our youth to learn to think like programmers, why not send them to a week-long video game summer camp?
Maybe you are right. I was interested when I saw that Steven Johnson said our world has always had the same percentage of very, very smart people.
People like you, Antonio. Yes. And Johnson also concedes that it is the average person whose IQ has improved the most, not the top 5% of people. Only average people have gotten smarter. That supports my idea that this kind of so-called intelligence is really just skills that we learn.
Molto bene, Bella. Very good. The average person. In Italia, the old way of life did not require people to think quickly or to make connections between ideas that were difficult to understand. They did not need to be smart. They just had to be good farmers.
So they learned to do things that we now think of as smart. I think that increases in IQ over the years are also attributable to that is caused by learning to think the way IQ tests require us to think.
The Flynn effect. Yes. But I do think that people are smarter as far as the things that EQ measures. And I think that EQ tests measure creative problem-solving ability. That is intelligence.
It is, indeed, a type of intelligence. Johnson has the audacity, however.
Audacia, see.
The audacity to say that yesterday's brainiac is today's simpleton. That's absurd.
Maybe it's true. Think of the farmer who is now a programmer. I must admit, though, that I find Johnson's numbers difficult to believe too. People who scored 90th% now score 30%. No way.
Right. Think of it this way. To score in the 90th percentile on the SAT reading test, you can only miss 4 questions out of 24. To score in the 30th percentile, you can miss 18 out of 24. There is no way people have become less intelligent to that degree.
My grandfather was a farmer, and he was a very good reader who loved great books, even La Divina Commedia by Dante Alighieri. The Inferno, you know. He was very smart when it came to understanding life and literature.
I would have guessed that. even commoners read back then. And I would say that they understood life better than those who have been raised on the Zelda game and ER episodes. Life then was peaceful. Life now is hectic. We run around multitasking, trying to text as we drive and the like. You know, maybe our increased ability to figure out fragmented television shows like ER is really just a skill that we have had to develop with our hectic, fragmented lives. Have you considered that? Maybe it's not intelligence that we have acquired but, rather, coping skills.
Very interesting, Cara Rachel.
Your comment about understanding life reminds me of the Italian nuclear family sitting down to dinner to discuss the things that matter most. How many people take the time to stop and ponder issues anymore?
And I'd say that those hour-long dinner time discussions were where I learned to think deeply. I don't know that I learned to think creatively there. Well, maybe a bit when I had to think fast to keep up, Nonna Rosa.
See? You learn to think by interacting with people and their ideas. You don't learn that kind of thinking playing Grand Theft Auto.
Or even programming computers?
Well,
I agree, actually. Do you remember what Johnson says about reading? I thought it was interesting that he admits at the end of his book that reading is the best way to understand worldview and to understand deeper thinking.
yes, I think he says that it is through novels that we delve into the consciousness of human beings. And you are able to, in Johnson's words, experience another person thinking and sensing with a clarity that can be almost uncanny. And that's when your worldview changes and you understand things differently. To me, true intelligence is an ability to understand issues, deep issues, issues that deal with the struggle of mankind, issues that deal with understanding mortal existence.
But isn't that something that's learned, too?
Perhaps. But ideas take hold and morph and change throughout a lifetime. That's growing in intelligence, I think.
And I say it's wisdom, not eek, but let me add that I read Dante and Pablo Neruda and listen to opera to become wiser.
And that's why I like you.
Yes, we share that.
Yes, we do.